Man, I tell you what, it is so exciting, so refreshing just to walk in here and have a clean shop. Would you look at it? I mean, would you just look at it? We're getting stuff knocked out. We got some parts on the way for builds, and we are ready to get these cars going for the 2023 season. I've been saying it for a little while. We've been putting in the legwork behind the scenes to make sure everything happens and comes together like it needs to, so we can spend all 2023 at the racetrack. Some of you guys thought I was capping. I wasn't. We've been getting it done, making moves, getting stuff knocked out, and it is time to get this Red Lobster motor in the Red Lobster. We got my main man Mason here doing his specialty, just making sure that chair don't go nowhere.
I learned from John.
Oh my God, the disrespect is unbelievable. Unbelievable. So we got some parts in, we got some blocks here, we got some motors. I think this guy's about sold. Should be, I'll know here shortly. I'm waiting on a quote for shipping, and then that sucker is going to be out of here. Very proud of this big block that we put together, but unfortunately, the way of the road, sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't. This one, it's going. Out of here. Gone. See you later. Colorado build. Someone commented. This is how I know if you guys watch the channel or not. Someone's like, well, where's the Colorado at? Like, dude, Colorado's gone. Sorry about it. It breaks my heart. I don't even want to talk about it, really. Yeah, what Colorado? I don't know what you're talking about. It's gone. Maybe you can go back and watch some videos. We're downsizing, we're streamlining, we're trimming the fat, and we're getting ready to do some racing. So, those of you guys that don't know what happened to this car, this is the Red Lobster in all of its glory. SN95, small block Ford powered. Beautiful car. Just swapped it over to a Force Inductions turbo. When we did that, we dropped the pan of the original motor. The pan looked like hammered dog shit. There's no better way to say it. It just looked rough. Here it is. It's just been sitting here just as a reminder to all the other motors. Don't look like this. This is not like metal shavings from the shop. That is just an oily, glittery potion that you never want to see in your oil pan. And when we pulled that off, after we pried it off for about an hour because they used right stuff on it, we understood that the motor was not happy. So we took it apart, spun rod bearing, just not good. Go through everything, just a bunch of parts that were just damaged. The block had a broken, had a crack in one of the mains. So we got the block here, that's junk, but I do have the heads. The heads were good off of it. A set of C3 heads. These are for sale. If you guys are interested, message me for these. C3s, dual valve springs, got Jessel rocker arms with them. Sell it as a complete package. I don't know how much.
$2,000?
$2,000 with, I mean, the rocker arms by themselves are like 1,700 bucks.
You got the rockers too?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, we'll stick with it. We're just gonna give shit away at this point. $2,000. You guys can get this with the billet rocker stands and the aluminum adjustable rockers. It's got 2 broke valve springs, but you put 2 valve springs on there, you can slap those heads on and run them. The heads are in good shape.
The valves are good, aren't they?
It's O-ringed. Yeah, no, I mean, really no issues. Yeah, so there you have it. If you guys are interested, hit me up. You guys can get those. The block, like I said, is no good, so we'll make a coffee table out of that. And then we upgraded.
Wait, you do have another block.
We do have another block. Yeah, we do. We upgraded here to an aluminum block from an iron block. So this car here had a slight wheelie issue before. Ladder bar, known to wheelie. Take 200 pounds off the nose. Stick it in there, even more wheelie. So we're going to get this guy in there. First order of business, we got to flip this elbow around backwards because the intake comes through the back there. We got to put an oil pan on it. And then the headers don't go on it. Or they don't come out of the car. The headers, or do the headers?
Looks like they can stay.
I can't remember if we put the headers on in the car or out of the car. I really don't know. I'm stumped right now.
We'll put them on in the car for guaranteed not having to pull the motor back out to put them on.
I like where your head's at. Thankfully, I labeled everything. Header bolts! This is what I've been doing. I talked about in one of my last videos. Everything gets a cart and everything just stays on that cart. Now, we did make some changes to this. We are going to a external oil pump, external wet sump instead of the dry sump. So we're losing the dry sump tank, even more weight that we get to ditch. Great for the wheelies. But I like running this pump. I run on all my other cars. We're on the fuel pump drive off the back, so we're going to just have one belt instead of 2. Also, it's a lot less cumbersome than the 4-stage dealio.
And it's a lot better for us because we run that same setup on every car.
We have a failure, we could just swap it off another car. Yeah, so that's what we got going on. Listen, we're getting shit knocked out. Not a bunch of talking in videos anymore. We're doing action. You like the action? We give you action. Someone said in like 2 videos ago, they comment, they're like, man, no one cares. Just talk about the Red Lobster. Boom, here you go. It's like Burger King. Have it your way. What else do you want? We got to put this thing on an engine stand. Flip it upside down. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I hate small block Fords, but they're very good, but I hate them for this reason.
Where does the charge pipe go?
What do you mean, where's the charge pipe go?
In?
It goes in through here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, these LS guys don't know. They don't even know. Oh, it's actually Bluetooth boost.
Oh, it's like up and inside the...
Bluetooth boost, yeah. Yep.
Does it have an intercooler in there?
Nope. It's Bluetooth boost. Just... It used to. The hoods on these SN95s are very low. So if
it has a Sunoco hood on it.
Yeah.
So everything clears the hood that way.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. These LS guys, I tell you what. I'm not an LS guy anymore. I'm just a horsepower guy. I just love freaking horsepower. But these LS guys...
I'm just a really poor big block guy.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so LS is, you know, this is all we can afford right here.
Alright guys, we got a couple things to do to this guy before we put it in. Obviously, we need to get it ready to go in there. We need to stick an oil pan on there. That's probably the most obvious because it doesn't have anything to retain the oil. Flip this guy around backwards like I already mentioned because it is rear feed for the boostises. So it's got the turbo up front. It's like an older style setup where it used to have an air to water in the car, so the charge piping led into where the passenger seat would be. Instead of going to an intercooler, because it's on methanol, you run these cars non-intercooled, it just kind of loops around and comes in from the back, which is fine on this setup because the hood is pretty low, so this helps gain hood clearance so you don't have to cut a hole in the hood. Everything's set up for it to run backwards, so we'll just leave it that way. We did change the turbo, we did modify some charge piping. We got rid of the wet sump tank, which would have been in the way, so if we did want to route it forward, we could, but I don't think it would clear the hood. So we got to do all of that. We are going to put the flex plate on, and then I believe we're ready to set it in the car. We're going to have to figure out how we're hanging the oil pump, which will go off of the motor plate here, but we're gonna have to do that in the car because we don't know how everything fits clearance wise and header wise and where we're gonna do. Sometimes you guys can actually hang the oil pump off of the frame rail, which on something like this we might have to. Really just gotta get it in there and see how it goes. So it's already got the provisions and everything up here with the mandrel for it. I'm sorry, for a pulley. So hopefully it's not too complicated making that work. So I guess the goal for today is if we could just get it set in there, then we can kind of eyeball where we got to stick the fuel pump and go from there. So get the headers on it once we get it set in there. So before we actually stick the motor in the car, we'll make sure we clean off all of the flange surfaces so we can put some new gray, or it's not, is it Optimum gray RTV is what we use for all of our turbo stuff. We use on exhaust too. It works pretty well. You could use the copper RTV, the gray RTV. The headers, I haven't really had any issues. It doesn't really blow them out. So we're not blowing any backs out of the manifolds, header flange, whatever the hell you guys want to call it. Guys, this is what you're looking like for your high horsepower small block dealios. They're all pretty much the same, whether they're an LS, small block Ford, small block Chevy. When you turn them upside down, they all kind of look like this. You got your nice badass knife edge crank, your aluminum rods, your fully skirted pistons, aluminum block. I am noticing some like casting flaws in the Speedmaster stuff, which is definitely concerning because when this thing gets making a whole shit ton of power, like see all that stuff in there, you want it to be as solid as possible. We're gonna cross our fingers and hope that it goes well, but the possibility of it not going well is there. Hence why we're doing like the R&D. Not a lot of guys, some guys have gone very fast with this. Hopefully we have good luck. That's just what we're gonna go with. Yeah. So these suckers right here require one hell of an oil pan gasket. As you can see, it's not like a skirted block, so the oil pan goes up and over here. Like Mason mentioned, small block Ford, you pretty much stick them together with, they're held together by RTV. You have to RTV the living shit out of them. It's where the LS is superior. LS is a lot easier to put on. The gaskets are way better. This thing here, you got to put everything on, let it set up, tighten it down. We got a badass pan. I mentioned it before. Williams Fab pan. I guess what we should do is probably put it on there and bolt it down in a couple spots and make sure that we have good clearance, nothing's hitting before we really secure it. Because that'd be a pain in the ass if it's in the car and then we find out we have an issue. Guys, in full transparency, I've been having an absolute awful time with this small block Ford. From a 1 to a 10, it's been a 2. Maybe a 1, actually. All I have to do is stick the oil pan on. I've put small block Ford oil pans on before. I hate them, and this is why. The gasket is not terrible, but you have to RTV both the pan. Oh my god, I forgot to scrape it off the pan last night.
It'll come off.
The pan and the block have to be RTV'd, as you can see. There's a little groove here. Gasket goes. We've had some RTV in there. RTV both sides. RTV right here. RTV right here. I go around these bolt holes, around those bolts. RTV, RTV. You set it on there. As you set the oil pan on, this whole rail is exposed. This side is not. You have to go through the pan. So you're only putting 1, 2, 3 on this rail. The 2 back ones are inside the pan. The 2 front ones are outside the pan. So what I've always done is I take a nut, I put a bunch of grease on it, I stick it in the socket so it sticks in the socket. You then set it down on top of it through the pan, because there's access holes you got to take out. Like here, these are the plugs for the access holes. So it's that large. You set it down there. You twist it, it starts to thread, right? Obviously you can't touch it because the pan's in the way, and then you thread it on. This one goes on fine, this one goes on fine. This one, the access hole, is not centered over above it, it's offset. For what reason, I don't know. There's nothing that would obstruct it. I think it was just installed incorrectly. So, when you go to stick your Johnny on there, where is it? Where's one? Like, just this is for demonstration purposes. So you got your long ass extension, right? It needs to go on perfect or else it will cross thread. Well, when the access hole is in, the only way you can get it there is like that. See that angle? Will not thread. So then you put the swivel on there. And you see that?
And it goes right on.
It does not go right on.
It does.
It does not go right on. Does not. So we had to pull the pan off. We got to clear it off with RTV. I spent an hour and 48 minutes on this last night before I threw the towel in.
So here's the biggest problem, in my opinion. Here, the windage tray comes over so far that there is no way to get a socket through here. So it's literally impossible to get a socket to this stud.
Both of these, this one's good, this one's not. But these holes that are drilled there need to be brought back to the face of the aluminum, because again, same thing, you can't go straight down on top of it.
Another issue is, I think it's possible, but it's very, very, very tight to get the nut on this stud right here, because your socket and nut is up against the back of the pan. So it's like damn near impossible.
This is why the small block Ford is the dumbest engine known to man. I cross-threaded one of these guys on there. Where'd it go? I had it laying around here somewhere. I don't know where it went, but it was not pretty. So I guess, are we gonna just try this real quick one more time here?
Yeah, I want to try it once without RTVing it and just seeing if we're gonna have to pull that windage tray out and cut it.
Yeah,
that's gonna have to happen.
Well, we need to do that, and then we need to get the old Milwaukee CNC out. And but you're out of your mind if we're gonna stick it on there and put the bolts on there without RTV. Once the bolts are on there, that shit's final.
I just want to make sure. I want to test fit it and make sure we can get these in. I'm not worried about this one. I got this one in last night. It wasn't that change of configuration. Got it on. However, these back here, I will definitely.
You're saying that the socket.
So yeah, I had it down in there, but the socket was up against the back wall of the pan.
Well, we just got to put that socket in the damn.
The
socket's the same diameter as the nut.
Which we could trim the nut down, I guess. Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. I
mean, it's just so. See, this is why, like every LS I've got, I stick the oil pan on there, bolt it up, we're good to go. Every small block Ford, you have to sit here and grind on the damn oil pan and this and that. None of this shit's cheap. It's actually more expensive. Small block Ford people, for how smart you guys have to be to build one of these properly, you guys have some of the shittiest designs. Like, why don't they just make a fully skirted block? Boom! Done! Game over! Normal ass oil pan. Good to go. No, we can't do that. That would make too much sense. Like, it's not 1990s anymore.
It's in fact not the 1990s anymore.
It is not. Alright guys, we are plugging away here.
That won't go.
Won't?
It will.
It will?
I think.
So, our modifications have worked. I don't know if you guys can see. It's very, very difficult to see.
They are less than ideal.
They're not... Mason shaved down the nuts. I shaved the oil pan down. We cut the windage tray. Doing everything we can to make this small block Ford pan fit on this. You'd think that this pan was built for something else. Like, really. And then the worst part of all of it is, like, this side, just like you zip them on. That's great. That side's great. You got to set it up with RTV. Really not the end of the world. This video was supposed to be like, I was going to do this all in, like, I mean, you got to think an LS oil pan, you put that sucker on in 5 minutes. So I'm like, oh, you know, a little bit additional time here for the small block Ford stuff. Got to RTV it, get those on there. You figure you drop one nut down in the oil pan, you got to turn the motor over, fish it out. Yeah, no big deal. So I figure out, oh, an hour. Well, 2 hours later, I'm like, still don't have the pan on. This video is supposed to be putting the pan on, putting the motor in the car. And now, if we can just get the pan on in this video, it will be a great success. And this is like the God-honest truth of building race cars. This is what they don't tell you about.
Yeah. It's just like last night working on Logan's car. How long did it take to get the passenger side control arm on? Hour and a half?
Mm-hmm.
Just, it's race car stuff. Shit don't fit.
And that's just how it is. So, I mean, this is the nature of the beast. It's the way of the road. And if you think building race cars is easy, you're like, oh, why does it take you guys so long? Well, something as easy as putting an oil pan on, by the time we get done with this, if it goes on, I'd say relatively quickly, we're going to have 3 hours in.
Yeah, I mean, it's the next day at 5 o'clock we're working on this job.
Yeah, well, I mean, we ain't been working on it the whole day.
Well, we had other things. That's what I'm saying, though. We have other things to do normally earlier in the day. So.
All right, so we'll get to RTV in, and RTV, the block, the pan, stick it on there, and the first 3 that we'll do is this one and those 2. If we get those on, we should be good to go. Free and clear from there. Well, guys, there you have it. After some cutting and grinding, I really tried my hardest not to have to cut and grind on that pan, didn't I?
Yeah, it had to happen.
Had to happen. So we got her on there. The pan's badass. It's just the small block Ford that sucks ass. So Williams Fab, check them out. They make some badass pans. We got one like sitting right over here for the LS stuff. I think it's somewhere over here somewhere. Here's my intake. Oh, there it is. Yeah, badass pans. Very similar, but see how the rails are not inside the oil pan on that? Yeah, Ford, take notes. So we got this guy on there, and I guess tomorrow what I'll do is I'll get the headers cleaned up, get them stuck on here, get the flex plate on there, and then we'll stick it in there. Other than that, we should be good to go, ready to rock. Make some horsepower.
Did you say flip the elbow around?
Flip the elbow around, yeah. I gotta flip the elbow around.
Is it gonna have to come off and then put the elbow on and bolt it down at the same time?
No.
Into that coupler?
No, I don't think so. I've never had the elbow off of it before. So we'll do that and then we should be good to go. So good old small block Ford making it happen. Guys, let me know who you are. Are you a small block Ford guy? Are you an LS guy? Are you a big block guy? Mopar guy? Sorry, all you Mopar guys out there, you're getting no love. The Fords, a little bit. Big blocks, hell yeah. LS, hell yeah. Small block Chevy, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, that's gonna wrap it up, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Comment, subscribe. I post the good, the bad, the ugly. This one wasn't really necessarily bad, but it was ugly because you guys watched me get my ass whooped for like 2 days. So it's life. Sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're that oil pan bolt that you put on crooked, and then you have to take it all apart.